Good morning, Corpus Christi, Coastal Bend listeners worldwide. Welcome on in to another edition of the Sunday Sports Rush right here on News Talk KEYS 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. I am your host, James Espinosa. I am back after a week off. I'm joined by good friend, producer, and co-host. It is Adin Ducker.
What's Gucci with it?
We got Alex Weister in the building for one last time before he heads back to the DFW area to continue his studies at the University of North Texas. Alex, welcome.
I'm glad to be here, but this won't be the last that you hear of me, of course. I will be here for the Pick'em episodes. I have to.
You'll be here for Pick'em. We'll probably have you on for like some major NFL headline segments. We'll probably have you on when there's UFC, get your thoughts on stuff like that. So, yeah, this won't be the last time. Alex is always a part of this show, no matter how far away he might be.
I try my best.
As Walt likes to say to Saul, you're still a part of this, whether you like it or not.
It's episode number 129. If you want to get in on the text line, hit us up, 361-882-5397. That is 361-882-5397. We got a pretty packed show today. Coming up in the first hour at 9:50, we have a UFC 292 review led by Alex Weister. There is a new bantamweight champion, and boy, oh boy, it's a little bit sweet.
They've put that man on a rocket ship to start him.
At 9:30, we dive into some NFL headlines. At 9:20, we got some news you can use in the sporting world. But right now, I wanted to say, guys, I thought y'all did a fantastic job last week.
Thank you.
I listened to the show, the majority of the show, as I was in Kingsville, nursing a little bit of a hangover from Saturday night's festivities with my family.
I was on one with my puns.
Y'all guys were great. I honestly enjoyed it. I thought of course, y'all's camaraderie, y'all's, everything y'all got, it was good. The content was great. So, yeah.
I just find it odd that me hosting always precedes you having a hangover. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Well, whenever I go, let's put it this way. When I go to Kingsville to visit family, it is always a little bit of a wild ride with the Espinosa clan. Typically staying up late.
I've seen it firsthand.
Yes, you have.
Yes.
Tons of beers, a couple of shots were consumed, and yes, we had a great time. But we're here, we're back, and let's go ahead and dive right into the first topic of the day. It's a Cowboys discussion because the question of the day to the listening audience and to you guys in here is which new addition to the Cowboys will have the greatest impact this season? Is it Stephon Gilmore, cornerback? Is it wide receiver Brandon Cooks? Is it the rookie running back Deuce Vaughn? Or the rookie defensive tackle first-round pick Mozzie Smith? Which one of these new additions to the Cowboys will have the greatest impact this season? Hit us up, 361-882-5397, 361-882-5397. Hit that text line. Give us your thoughts. So, I guess I'll go ahead and lead this off. I honestly do think that Brandon Cooks is going to have the biggest impact on this offense. The Cowboys for the last couple of seasons, especially with Michael Gallup not being totally 100%, have really lacked a number 2 receiver to complement CeeDee Lamb. Ever since they got rid of Amari Cooper last season, that hindered them a lot. And Gallup, we don't know what kind of Gallup we're going to see. Last year, he was inconsistent. Last year, coming off of injury. Hopefully, he's better this season. But I think Brandon Cooks should solidify the deep threat for the Cowboys and just give the Cowboys an extra gear in that wide receiver room. That is my take. I think Brandon Cooks will have the most impact on the Cowboys this season as a newcomer.
I would say that's probably going to be the case. A close second is going to be Stephon Gilmore for me, in all honesty. I think he is going to solidify that defense, the corner spot right next to Trayvon Diggs, and I think that's just going to make that defense a whole lot better because Stephon Gilmore, while he's getting up there in age, yes, he still has a lot left in the tank, and he showed it. I mean, you don't hear about him as much as you do when he was on the Colts or on the Patriots, but it's because, I mean, he's not really allowing much, and so there's not really much to talk about.
Just Stephon Gilmore, who intercepted Dak Prescott last year during the Colts and Cowboys game. I was very close to picking Stephon Gilmore as well because much like the way CeeDee Lamb was a little bit on an island last year as the lone playmaker on offense, that's the way Trayvon Diggs was on the cornerback side of things. The cornerback number 2 for the Cowboys for quite a while had been Anthony Brown. You saw some Jordan Lewis in there from time to time. Brown got hurt last year. Jordan Lewis was injured. You had to rely on guys like Deron Bland, Israel Mukwamu. I mean, several other just depth pieces at cornerback number 2, which really, kind of put Diggs on a little bit of an island as, hey, he's the only guy out there who could really cover a number 1 or a number 2 receiver, and everything else was just, let's hope for the best. So I wanted to lean Stephon Gilmore. I don't know. Part of me thinks that the offense will take another step with Cooks. Gilmore will be great, though. I think him and Lamb will complement each other very well. Adin, what's your take on this subject?
If I were to make it, I probably would lean on Brandon Cooks a little bit. I know last year, like you said, whenever Jordan Lewis and Anthony Brown got injured, that secondary was a little, it was a little dicey at times. Especially later on in the season. Like I remember against the Jags and then the Bears, it didn't look that good for the secondary. But overall, I mean, when push came to shove, I mean, in the playoffs against the Niners, it was really on the offense that lost the game. And I feel like having Brandon Cooks there is going to help solidify the Cowboys.
The past 2 playoff losses to the 49ers, it's been on the offense both times.
Well, the first time it was kind of a team loss. I don't think the defense played that well in the first game. But the second game, they were pretty solid. And they just eventually, San Francisco, slowly as the game wore on, eventually wore down a tired defense because they were always on the field.
Last year, the Cowboys did have a defense that was capable of winning that game. And you're right, Adin, the offense did not show up. So 361-882-5397. Question of the day to the audience. Which new addition to the Cowboys will have the greatest impact this season? Stephon Gilmore, Brandon Cooks, rookie Mozzie Smith, or rookie running back Deuce Vaughn? Hit us up on the text line, 361-882-5397.
And I have to say this to Cowboys fans. This isn't 2019. 3 or 4 seasons is a lot in the NFL. So you don't expect, Brandon Cooks, he at times he looked like he was an elite receiver. I always thought he was an underrated receiver.
He's had
a little bit.
6 1,000-yard seasons.
And then Stephon Gilmore used to be the defensive player of the year back in 2018, 2019. Or 2019 he was. But so don't expect, I think they're going to be good, but don't expect very elite play from them.
Well, hit us up on the text line with your thoughts. Cowboys did have a preseason game last night, which started at 9 p.m. in Seattle.
That's just so late.
It's crazy late. I tried to stay up. Well, I pretty much did stay up for the whole fight for the whole game because I was watching the fights at the same time. So that kind of helped me. But the Cowboys lost 22-14. Who cares? They're 0-2 in the preseason. Some things that I saw last night that really stood out was the play of running back Rico Dowdle, who is in contention for running back number 2. 8 carries, 38 yards, averaged about 4.8 yards per carry. He also had a receiving touchdown. So pretty decent night for Rico Dowdle. Deuce Vaughn had a touchdown run last night. Deuce Vaughn got into the end zone once again. That's back-to-back preseason games for Deuce Vaughn in the end zone. Jalen Tolbert, the second-year wide receiver who last year couldn't even make his way onto the game day roster, at one point lined up offsides in a critical game, which cost the Cowboys. Jalen Tolbert, 4 catches, 66 yards, 16.5 per catch with a long of 35 on 6 targets. Those guys stood out a lot. Will Greer with 136 yards threw 1 ugly interception. Cooper Rush was efficient, 9 of 14, 96 yards. Just a hair under 7 yards on average throw with 1 touchdown pass to Rico Dowdle. So, look, things looked all right. Defense looked good, but injuries last night kind of took their toll on the Cowboys. Let's go left after a shoulder injury in the second quarter. So Let's Go, the offensive lineman, left the game. And then the biggest one happened with Cowboys rookie linebacker DeMarvion Overshown, former Texas Longhorn. Reports are that he may have a torn left ACL. 2 people familiar with the situation said an MRI, however, is needed to grasp the injury's nature. The team hopes for good news, but there's concern that this might be a torn ACL to the rookie linebacker who did have a pretty good first game last week showed a lot of good signs in camp that he could be that heat-seeking missile athletic linebacker. So now the linebacker depth has taken a little bit of a hit here for the Cowboys. So just, some little notes there from last night's game. And they lost, but hey, it is what it is, right? Cowboys got one more preseason game next weekend against the Las Vegas Raiders. So there we go. Just a little quick Cowboys preseason recap for you. 361-882-5397. Question of the day. I already got some people rolling in with their answers. Which new addition to the Cowboys will have the greatest impact this season? Gilmore, Cooks, Mozzie Smith, or Deuce Vaughn? Another note I wanted to get to is the fact that Zack Martin is back.
Finally.
Zack Martin did return to Cowboys camp this past week. Zack Martin essentially signed a 2-year, $36 million deal, $18 million a year guaranteed. So that puts him now as the third highest paid guard in the NFL behind Atlanta's Chris Lindstrom and Indianapolis's Quentin Nelson.
And that's pretty much around the range where I was saying about that 16, 17, 18 million. Don't have to go over 20. It's just up what he was making, which was 13?
Yes.
And they did that, and so I think that was a good deal.
They got him to where he deserves, a top 5 guard in the game. So look, all is fair in love and war. And whenever Zack Martin sat out all those practices, sat out a preseason game, he got fined $850,000 by the NFL. And that can't be rescinded. So a little funny note that Bob Stern brought up from the ticket in Dallas. He's the one that pointed this out to me, so give credit to Bob for doing the research on the contract of Zack Martin. It was a 2-year, $36.85 million deal.
Okay.
0.85, that's $850,000.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, that's how much the NFL fined Zack Martin for missing training camp. So guess who ended up paying Zack Martin's fine? Jerry Jones.
I mean, Jerry Jones.
Wow, Jerry Jones talks so tough.
Yeah.
But yet, I'm going to pay your fine, big dog.
I mean, Jerry Jones, he is a player's owner, for the most part during his tenure. We never really seen Jerry Jones not back up a player of his. So
you're right, but the way Jerry Jones talked a little bit tough at the beginning, we got to sign Micah. What do you say? Just paraphrasing, right? Like, if he's not here, he's not here. He'll show up when he shows up.
Yeah.
To end up actually paying the fine, pretty good move on Jerry Jones. Also very smart on Zack Martin to have that worked into the contract, saying, look, you're going to end up paying this fine, and we're going to call it even. And they did. Zack Martin is back. So there's your Cowboys news for the week. Question of the week, question of the day. Which of these new additions to the Cowboys will have the greatest impact this season? Stephon Gilmore, Brandon Cooks, rookie Mozzie Smith, or rookie running back Deuce Vaughn? Hit us up on the text line, 361-882-5397. When we come back, we got the 920 news. Sam Cosmi, another former Longhorn who is now playing with the Washington Commanders, had an interesting take about preseason. Lionel Messi continues to tear it up in MLS. We got all that and more. It's the 920 news coming up. Sunday Sports Rush, episode 129. James, Adin, and Alex with you till 11 a.m. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we will have NFL headlines. Tons of them out there. Lots to discuss. Lots of injuries this past week in training camp and in preseason games. So we'll dive into that. We'll get into some NFL talk. We got a UFC segment at the end of the hour. And then next hour, in the second hour of the show, the 10 o'clock hour, we're going to have a college football preview. We're going to predict our playoff 4. And we're also going to talk some 3-6-1 high school football and make some predictions with that. So a big preview show today for a lot of things because college football kicks off next week.
Indeed it does.
High school football kicks off this Thursday. We're going to have GP versus Cow Allen.
Crazy.
We're going to dive into all that. We're going to be very, very busy here coming up. Our question of the day was, which new addition to the Cowboys will have the greatest impact? I got Anthony Gonzalez in on Twitter. Hit me up on Twitter at Sir Edward James. Anthony says the most impact will be Deuce. He said it's hard to see Gilmore over Diggs with a new contract lurking. He says CeeDee's looking to cash in too. Yeah, looking to get a new contract for CeeDee. Anthony says Deuce is a playmaker, difference maker, and awesome compliment to Tony Pollard.
I agree. He did look good in the preseason so far, but it seems like from the depth charts I've seen and from the reps, he seems to be a little bit lost in the shuffle in a way. And not to mention, I don't want to keep bringing him up, but he is a part of my family, Hunter Lupke. He seems to be in high regard around there, and I mean, he's a versatile fullback. He can do multiple things: block, catch, run. It seems like he might get a little lost in the shuffle. Now, my dark horse is Mozzie Smith. I think if he can actually show out and find a way to work in a solid role in that crowded defensive line room, I think he could stand out a bit.
Mozzie didn't have the best game last night. Got pushed around a little bit, got turned. He did have a pretty decent game in preseason game 1, but it's going to be a little bit of a work in progress for Mozzie Smith as a first-year defensive tackle.
It's a very crowded defensive line room full of a lot of really good players.
Yeah. He'll be good. I mean, look, they still got Osa Odigizua.
Yeah.
I mean, Bohannon. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are in that room who can be very good for the Cowboys.
I expect to see him in the same role that he was sort of drafted for, which is that run stuffer, that big guy in the middle who can sort of disrupt and make some noise and make the running back have to find a different lane to run and let the defense make a play around him.
And then let's be real, the Cowboys haven't had a notable interior middle of the lineman.
I mean, this is
since Jay Ratliff.
Yeah, this is the defensive line room for the Cowboys right now. The aforementioned Mozzie Smith, Osa Odigizua, who's been pretty good for the Cowboys. They got Jonathan Hankins, Neville Gallimore, and Quentin Bohanna. So that's a pretty stacked
and that's just
defensive line room.
That's just the defensive tackle
position.
The defensive ends too. I mean, that's an even more loaded position. And it's going to be tough for him. But if he can start getting more and more reps, I think it's going to be because he earned them, and it's going to start showing.
Fair take. Let's go ahead and dive right into the 920 news.
There's a lot of news. And now the news.
Y'all guys could still weigh in on the text line 361-882-5397, taking your answers all show long. All right. Lionel Messi, guys. He did it. He did it again. Guys, ever since Lionel Messi has come to America to play for Inter Miami, he has now scored in every single match of Inter Miami's League Cup run. 7 goals, 7 games. Every match he's played for. And last night, it was Miami and it was Nashville. And they played for the League's Cup championships. There was a trophy on the line, and Inter Miami took the League's Cup. They won in penalty kicks 10-9. So Messi once again lifts a trophy. And here is the goal that Messi scored in regulation to make it 1-0 Miami. This is courtesy of Apple TV MLS.
When playing alongside Lionel Messi and Sergio Busquets, what that can do for a player to elevate their game. Taylor coming behind as well. Kramaski in the middle. Taylor cutting it to his right, trying to get it to Kramaski. Lionel Messi around Zimmerman. Messi!
That was actually the 10th goal for Messi in 7 games, but he has scored at least a goal in each of Miami's 7 games. So Messi and Miami lift the cup. And the interesting thing about this is that Inter Miami right now in Major League Soccer's regular season, which is on pause because they had this tournament, this in-season tournament, they're in dead last in Major League Soccer.
Really?
Yeah, they're the worst team in soccer, Major League Soccer, before Messi got there.
Okay.
Messi hasn't even played an MLS regular season match. He's just been playing this in-season tournament. So can Messi lift Inter Miami back up into the playoff contention of MLS? That would be something to watch as we go forward.
This is a spectacle for Americans, but
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, this is like minor league. I mean, I will say this though. Somebody made a really funny comparison. This is like when Furio went into New Jersey because you know, Alex, have you seen Sopranos?
No, I haven't actually.
Well, it basically, I mean, James understands. It's like he just came from Italy, from like true gangs, like true mafia related stuff, and he came to New Jersey, just wrecked it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But hey, Messi is Messi, man. He's still one of the best out there, and he's doing it here in America. So that's pretty cool.
I think a modern day comparison for this could be like LeBron playing in China. I mean, it's an all-time great, arguably one of the best in the sport ever. And he's in the last years of his playing time, and he just goes to a random league and just starts lighting it up.
Messi did say that he believes that Major League Soccer has what it takes to compete with European leagues in the
Of course
future.
he's gonna say that.
I know. He's going to be the public,
Yes.
He's going to shill just a little bit for MLS.
Yeah.
He's now paying his salary, right? So he is going to talk good about MLS, but it's pretty cool to see. I have an interesting audio clip from Sam Cosmi, who is a offensive lineman for the Washington Commanders and a former Texas Longhorn. And Sam Cosmi had some interesting thoughts on the preseason. I want to know if you guys agree with him. Here is Sam Cosmi. This is courtesy of NBC Washington.
Does that Ravens win streak even enter your brain, the preseason win streak?
I think it's a stupid record. I mean, who gives a about preseason games?
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, if we beat it, great. Well, we're going to beat it, so there we go.
Okay, calm down, Sam Cosmi. Okay, so he's all like, who cares about preseason games? And then he switches. We're gonna beat it.
No, okay, so if some context here, if you watch the video, he says that kind of like in a sarcastic way, like, okay, I guess I'll say I'll give you the company line of course we're gonna beat it. But yeah, he's pretty much like, who gives an S about preseason games? Guys, do we really care about preseason games?
I just love how the one person to jump in immediately and give their hot take was Adin, the Ravens fan.
I know.
I mean, I think it is fair because they do play starters for at least a quarter. So they are trying to ramp themselves up for the season. So yes, there is some meaning to preseason.
We got a big Sunday night game tonight. Saints and Chargers, NFL Network.
Yes,
James did this to get at me. This was intentional.
I just thought it was a funny clip.
Yeah.
Who gives an S about preseason?
I mean, I guess it's funny.
It's all right.
I guess it's funny.
I'm investing in this preseason streak.
And then tomorrow night, Monday Night Football, Ravens Commanders. Can the Ravens keep their streak going? Sam Cosmi, who gives an S? All righty. I hope you guys give an S about us and stick around. Sunday Sports Rush. We got NFL headlines coming up. Keep it here. Keep it locked.
You think you know me?
Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Rush. And I hope you can see clearly that we are the best sports show in Corpus Christi, Coastal Bend. 361-882-5397. Go ahead, Adin.
Saw Alter Bridge last night with Seven Dust. The first bump was Seven Dust bump. This is Alter Bridge, who does both of Edge's theme songs that he had.
How was the concert?
It was great, man. You know, Alter Bridge is my first time seeing them live. I saw Tremonti's solo project live before, but for my first time seeing these guys, and and they played this song.
Shout out to WWE's Edge, who there are heavy rumors right now that Friday night was his last ever match. Gonna call it a career potentially. It happened in his hometown of Toronto, Canada. So a lot of rumors right now. It's only fitting that Alter Bridge was in Corpus Christi, and Alter Bridge is the one that, infamously made this theme song.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long career for Edge because he was like one of my favorites when I was a little kid. I mean, that's a long career.
25 years.
And real quick,
crazy.
Before we move on, fun fact, Alter Bridge is 3/4 the band Creed. So
interesting.
That is also very true and very, very interesting. So you kind of saw Creed last night.
Basically, except a different singer. But.
361-882-5397. Our question of the day: which new Dallas Cowboy will have the greatest impact for them this season? I'm going to our Sports Rush 1440 Twitter page. John is in here. John says Deuce Vaughn will lead the team in rushing yards. That's a take. That's a take. John says Deuce Vaughn will lead the team in rushing yards. Okay, John, I see you in here.
Deuce Vaughn's got to be in the offense. He's got to be because in today's NFL, the better teams are doing the running back by committee system.
Yeah.
But Tony Pollard is going to lead the charge, though.
For sure.
We got at True Grit in here. True Grit says Deucey Sanders will lead the Cowboys. A lot of people like Deuce. I get it. Deuce is like... he's that preseason favorite. It's like whenever you watch Hard Knocks and they put the spotlight on one player and then everybody just falls in love with that player.
Yeah.
That's Deuce. But the only thing is, Deuce is not going to get cut like that guy on Hard Knocks will eventually get cut and they break your heart. Deuce is going to make the 53. He's too much of a weapon to not make the 53 for the Cowboys.
Lower your expectations on calling him Sanders.
That's what they're saying. He has Barry Sanders ability.
Oh, that's the same Cowboys fan that's saying that's always clamoring Super Bowl every season.
I got one more in here, and this one comes from John Galvan. So shout out to John for getting in here. John says he's looking forward to seeing Mozzie Smith next to Parsons. Parsons hasn't really played next to a good defensive tackle in his career, and for Mozzie, it'll be great to be in between DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons.
Yeah, fair.
And the thing is, too, D-Law and Parsons haven't played in the preseason. So Mozzie Smith, yeah, he's out there. Yeah, he's got guys like Sam Williams and Dante Fowler on the edge, but he hasn't really played with the top dogs. Mm-hmm. And when the top dogs get out there, it's going to make things a lot easier for Mozzie Smith.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
To be able to do his thing in the middle. 361-882-5397. Who will have the greatest impact for the Cowboys this season? Which new addition? Hit us up on the text line, 361-882-5397. Let's go into NFL headlines. On keys. NFL headlines on keys.
I normally come in afterwards. I didn't expect you to wait for me.
I'm sorry. It's okay. Wow, speaking of former Cowboys... Zeke Elliott's a Patriot. It happened. We talked about this 2 weeks ago when Zeke visited the Patriots. Zeke had dinner with Mac Jones. Zeke is a Patriot. 1-year deal worth up to $6 million after incentives with a $3 million base salary. Zeke Elliott, a Patriot. Pretty kick-ass. I'm happy for Zeke. I think he's going to do quite well with Bill Belichick. I think he's going to do quite well as a compliment to Ramondre Stevenson, who is the running back 1 right now.
Yes.
Zeke, a Patriot. Guys, reactions. Alex.
Mainstream media is making it out like he is going to end up being a good fantasy pick for people, and I think they are trying to make people snake bitten because I do not think that he's going to go back to early Zeke form like I'm seeing, because this happens every offseason. Every offseason since his one good season way back in 2016, he's been like, okay, this is offseason form. He's going to go back to what he was. It's just not going to happen.
Now, I don't see Zeke being the all-pro caliber rusher that he once was, but can I see Zeke maybe getting 7 touchdowns? Yeah.
Yes.
I could see him getting some goal line touchdowns. I could see him getting some screens in the red zone and possibly taking one for a touchdown. Yes, I could see that, but I'm not going to say that Zeke Elliott's going to be out here and be top 10 in rushing or top 5 like some of these talking heads are doing.
Ramondre Stevenson is one of the most underrated running backs in the game. He can run really well, and he is a great receiving back. He is undoubtedly going to be the lead back in that Patriots offense, and Zeke will get the short yardage touches like he did with the Cowboys because that's what his role is going to be now. Is going to be short yardage gains, take the ball, and just run as fast and as hard as you can through the hole.
Yeah, the Patriots are going to be the best 4th place 8-win team we've ever seen.
I mean,
wow, that's a take.
It's not really that hard of a take though, because they are in a tough division.
Yeah, when you look at Bills, the new Jets, the Dolphins, and then the Patriots.
Tough.
I mean, how they kind of do slide in at that 4th spot, but
I think the Patriots are a playoff team in the NFC, but in the AFC, I don't think they're a playoff team.
Another just quick note on Zeke. I think whenever he does return to Dallas in week 4, in Dallas as a Patriot. I think the Cowboys fans will give him a little bit of respect, maybe a standing ovation, or maybe even just a Zeke. Yeah. One of those for good time's sake. So
maybe several bowls of Captain Crunch while we're at it.
I love that. That was such a good video they did back in the day. Moving on, Dalvin Cook has joined the Jets, speaking of the AFC East, on a 1-year deal. And Breece Hall was activated for the Jets. So you're going to have a backfield of Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, to go along with Garrett Wilson, to go along with Aaron Rodgers, of course. That offense is going to be kind of scary if they can get things clicking in New York.
For those Breece Hall fantasy lovers, they are in shambles because that is a messy running back room. They have a lot of very quality guys, and I can't see one taking the bulk of the load over anybody else because they all are very good in their own right.
Yeah, this Jets team kind of, just the vibe kind of reminds me of those, they're like the AFC Bucks. The only problem is they're in the AFC. That's the thing.
That's a very good comp, man.
But one thing that scares me is their offensive line, though. Their offensive line is still not good.
And Robert Saleh, in this past episode of Hard Knocks, ripped into the offensive line's ass and told them, you cannot be doing this. Yep. You're going to pretty much get Rodgers hurt, and we're done.
I mean, when Brady started with the Bucs, the offensive line was poor, and then they magically became a great offensive line. It was just magical.
I don't think that's going to be the case with this because we're seeing it in Hard Knocks that the offensive line is struggling. And, I mean, when you look up and down the offensive line, there's really not that many, key names that you've seen before. The only one is Elijah Vera Tucker and Connor McGovern.
Aaron Rodgers is going to – and I'll give Brady credit for – he gets the ball out quick. They're gonna have to implement Brady-like plays in that offense, in my opinion, to get the ball out quick.
I don't disagree. More news: the Colts have named Anthony Richardson, the rookie out of Florida, their starting quarterback for the 2023 season. Also, more news: last night, Jim Irsay did talk and say that they cannot wait to have Jonathan Taylor back in Colts camp. So there's still a little weird issue with Jonathan Taylor and Jim Irsay, but they're expecting him back, and the Colts are going to be starting the young rookie Anthony Richardson as their QB1. So that's going to be quite the sight, I think.
Anthony Richardson, he was an underwear Olympic star, but he wasn't consistent in Florida.
You're right, man.
I don't know, man. I'm very skeptical of Anthony Richardson. He has the athleticism, obviously.
Oh,
but
for sure. I'm skeptical on pretty much the entire rookie class, if I'm going to be honest. I think it's going to be a very shaky season for them. I hope that's not the case because I love seeing the new group of quarterbacks come in and we get to see the next generation, but it's looking shaky right now.
Bryce Young has good accuracy and whatnot, but he's shorter than he's
as tall as Kyler Murray.
He's shorter than me.
And he's not as mobile as Murray. I don't think.
He's more of a pocket guy, yeah. But he's about the height of a Kyler Murray. That's the kind of the knock on him. But, if you're able to do it against SEC defenses, those linemen are about the same size as NFL linemen when you think about it, the SEC. He should be decent. You know who stood out pretty well yesterday in the Texans game was their young quarterback. He did quite well. CJ Stroud, I know it's minimal numbers, but 7 of 12 for 60 yards, about 5 on average. He looked a lot better, made some throws on the move. I liked what I saw out of CJ. I know he had a rough week 1. I know y'all guys talked about that last week. But
don't tell that to Marcos about today's performance or this week's performance.
It's going to be growing pains for CJ. Meanwhile, Davis Mills went 10 of 22 for 94 yards.
Definitely do not tell that to Marcos.
Neither of them had touchdowns as the Texans lost 28-3 to the Dolphins.
We love you, Marcos.
We do.
Personally, if we're going to be talking about anybody in terms of rookie quarterbacks, we have to talk about Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He has been an absolute baller in the preseason so far. And in all honesty, if Deshaun Watson really struggles this season, I could see him getting some starting reps.
Thompson-Robinson was really good last year with UCLA.
He was.
And UCLA was a top 15 type of team led by him and led by the running back out of Seattle now, Charbonnet, who we saw last night against the Cowboys. So Another guy who's been looking pretty well in the preseason is Jordan Love, guys.
Yeah.
It's already back-to-back starts where Love has looked really efficient. Love showed a great deep ball yesterday against the Patriots. Final numbers, 5 of 8, 84 yards, but he did average 10.5 per throw. Had 1 touchdown, a 137 quarterback rating. The Jordan Love era, man, can you imagine if the Packers did it again? From Favre to Rodgers to Jordan Love potentially at least being good.
Underachieved with a Hall of Fame quarterback?
Well, I mean, look,
Is that what you...
they won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
One with
I mean,
Favre, one with Rodgers.
But these are, I mean, okay, Brett Favre was the interception machine. I could get that, but,
You want to talk about underachieving with a Hall of Fame quarterback? I mean, look at the Saints. We had 1 Super Bowl with Drew Brees, and he was with us for what?
I always like to compare Rodgers to Brees because a lot of the times the defenses blew the playoff.
You want to
game.
talk about underachieving? Look at the damn team I cheer for, the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's underachieving.
But y'all never had a Hall of Fame quarterback since Aikman.
But
so.
I would trade anything for just 2 Super Bowls in the past 27 years, like the way the Packers have had. Let's put it that way.
I mean, there's no doubt that
you want to
Packers
talk about an underachieving team? Look at the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay, come on.
I mean, at least I
have
remember.
a big smile on my face just looking at
No,
it.
no. At least I remember what a Super Bowl win for my team looks like.
I know what a Super Bowl looks like.
Yeah.
What was it?
Weren't you in diapers?
2011 or 12?
Weren't you in diapers when the Cowboys won
I
their
was
last?
5 years old.
Okay. I mean, you probably had a couple accidents here and there.
I
but-
was not in diapers. Maybe pull-ups. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
hopefully
this is
not.
great.
Hopefully I
I mean-
was potty trained by then.
Hopefully.
You see, you don't even remember when you're. Never mind. All
right.
Let's move on from James's,
That wraps. That's gonna wrap up NFL headlines. Ravens did sign Clowney, so
Yes.
good job on you guys, Jadeveon Clowney.
He's gonna clown on these opposing offenses.
The first video we saw of him was him running a slant route. I don't know why, but that's the first video everybody saw of him on the Ravens.
One more quick note: Bijan Robinson did dazzle in his debut with the Falcons. Everybody's just going insane off of that one carry he had for like 15 or 20 yards. I mean, he looks good. He looks great. Don't get me wrong.
He is going to ruin some fantasy football seasons.
A lot of people are saying he could be pick number 1 in fantasy.
He's not even going to be the number 1 running back on the team.
It's easily going to be Austin Eckler.
Alrighty, so there we go. That wraps up NFL headlines. 361-882-5397. Get into the text line. Which new addition to the Dallas Cowboys will have the greatest impact this season? Weigh in, 361-882-5397. When we come back, Alex Weister has some notes from last night's UFC 292 card. The Sugar Sean O'Malley era is officially here. We talk all that and more after the break.
Welcome back to the Sports Rush this morning.
I didn't need that.
You just completely butchered one of my favorite Lamb of God songs.
Sunday Sports Rush, episode 129. How are my growls?
Leaves little to be desired.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to scare everybody out there.
Forget, hey,
As they're on their way to church.
Hey, forgive him, Father, for he has sinned.
Thanks. We're here with you this morning. 361-882-5397. Ryan L. is in here on the text line. Appreciate you getting in. Ryan says, I noticed the 7 dust praise and Alter Bridge sweepers this morning. Good, great selections. He says, I missed the Dallas game last night, but I have a feeling Deuce Vaughn might see a few carries during the regular season. I think you're damn right about that,
I agree
Ryan.
completely.
Deuce Vaughn will get carries. And yes, Adin, of course, the rock aficionado, the 7 dust, I would say expert.
Alter Bridge 2.
Fair.
Alter Bridge 2, you know. Aiden's killing it this morning, so appreciate you. One more before we jump into UFC. George says, good morning, guys. In my opinion, Dallas will not be a competitive team due to a stand-up player, but can be a respectable team in the NFL if they play together as a team. Okay, I get you. So George is pretty much saying they can be a respectable team if they play together as a team. Got you. He's saying that they will not be a competitive team due to a stand-up player, which I assume he means one player or a stand-out player. Possibly. George, if you want to get back in and clarify a little bit, we would appreciate it. But George D is in here as always. Thank you, George, for being in on the text line. 361-882-5397. All right, guys. Let's go ahead. We got a little bit of UFC 292 talk, so let's dive right into that. Alex, take it away.
We had UFC 292 last night, and it was one of the more low-key cards that we've had in recent time. We do have a string of 3 very good cards coming up. Next one, 293, is Adesanya versus Strickland. 294 is Islam Makhachev versus Oliveira 2.
I like that.
And that is going to be a big one. And then Jones versus Miocic, the long-awaited rematch coming up. Or no, they haven't fought yet, actually.
Jones and Miocic?
I don't believe they fought yet.
No, they haven't fought.
They haven't fought, no.
That's going to be in November. That's probably one of the main cards that a lot of people are going to be looking at. But UFC 292, it was a long card. It didn't end until around 12:30. There was 12 total fights. 8 of them went to a decision.
Yeah,
that is a long card.
Long card. The main event didn't kick off, or the main event didn't go off until past 1 o'clock Eastern time in Boston.
Yeah,
Think about that.
It was a crazy long card, but there were some very good fights. Kicking off the main card was Marlon Vera, a.k.a. Cheeto, versus Pedro Munoz, and Marlon Vera pretty much did what he usually does. Starts off slow, but he did start to pick it up as the fight went on, and it was a good fight all in all. Cheeto ended up winning, and he will likely be next in line after, let's say, one more fight to fight the now champion, who I will get to, who is the new champion of the welterweight division. No,
Bantamweight.
Next fight that we had in the main card, it was a bit of a boring one. Blackshear versus Bautista. Blackshear was fighting on 7 days' notice. He had 2 fights in the span of a week, which is absolutely crazy. But Bautista just looked better throughout the fight. He ended up getting the decision. Neil Magny versus Ian Gary really kicked off the start of the exciting part of the card. He was absolutely dominating. Ian Gary, he just had some technical striking with those leg kicks. He was 100% accurate on his leg kicks.
That's insane.
And he is definitely looking like the heir successor to the Irish throne of the UFC fight with usurping Conor McGregor. He has the attitude. He had multiple middle fingers thrown towards Neil Magny, and there was even one right after the final bell where he completely just flipped him off. And he has the attitude. He has what the UFC wants, and he has the talent. He's undefeated. He just beat the man with the most wins in that division.
So he could be marketable.
Absolutely, he can be marketable.
And of course, the Irish fan base, they always get behind their guy.
They are rowdy.
They pack arenas out like nothing. Yes, I got you.
And he definitely has what the UFC wants in terms of an attitude, a fight style. He doesn't want to go to the ground all the time. He wants you to stand up. Of course, Magny was crawling on the ground for a lot because he couldn't really stand up because of how bad his leg was, and he just told him to stand up every time. And the co-main was a bit of a boring one. Zhang Wei Li maintained her title over Amanda Lemos. It was a very technical performance from Wei Li. It was complete and utter dominance.
Zhang ragdolled her, bro.
Yes, it was complete and utter dominance.
Ugly. I'm scared of Zhang.
Yeah.
What? I love the term ragdolled.
Because I usually say whenever I used to do the, I remember the days when I used to do the UFC analysis. Yeah, that was my term that I used a lot.
Ragdolled. Go ahead, continue on, Alex.
281-21 was the total strike landed differential.
That's insane. 281-21. Yes.
In the third round, it was 125-4.
Scary.
It was just an unfair fight.
Is she the new baddest woman on the planet?
With Amanda Nunes being gone, yes.
Okay,
in my
that's
opinion.
fair. That's
fair.
fair.
Lemos didn't even make it out of Leonardo DiCaprio's age range. So, I mean, wow.
Jesus. All right. I guess main event
The main
time.
event was what everybody expected. It was an amazing fight. Round 1, they didn't really give much. Aljo and Sean O'Malley really did not give much. It was
Feeling
a tight
each other
round.
out, yeah.
It towards the end, Aljo got him against the cage, tried to get a takedown. Some great defense from Sean O'Malley. I mean, credit to him. Aljo is a very, very good grappler, and he was able to wear out the end of the round. And I mean, Aljo edged him out for it probably was a 10-9 round, but then in that second round, Sean O'Malley came out with a plan, and he dodged perfectly on a hook from Aljo and just absolutely
sidestepped him and clocked him with a straight, clean right. dropped him, and then just followed up with a couple of hammer fists. And
announcers, they said it was a quick finish, but, I mean, I think it was warranted. He was just absolutely pounding him, and they had to stop it. They had to stop it.
Alex was like a kidney candy store.
That was one of the most excited moments because Aljo, he had a good run as the title holder, but I don't think it was as good as the UFC wanted. And now they have the man who they want. They have him on a rocket ship to stardom. And, I mean, shout out to Sean O'Malley. He looked good in that fight. And I expect some great things. The UFC is going to get their money's worth out of that kid. And he's going to have some exciting fights coming up in the future. So look forward to some more Sean O'Malley fights.
And real quick before we end, when O'Malley lost to Marlon Vera in 2020, I thought he was overhyped, but he proved me wrong. So.
Hey, he's a good fighter, man. He's a smack talker. He's just one of those guys that the UFC can strap a rocket ship to, and
he is the new era.
Send him to the moon, baby. So there we go. Nice UFC 292 recap from Alex Weister right there. Get in on the text line 361-882-5397. We got NFL headlines coming up next. We're broadcasting live from the Americana Arms Studios. Big city selection, small town prices. This is KEYS Corpus Christi. Hour 2 coming up. Stick around. Good morning, Corpus Christi, Coastal Bend, listeners worldwide. Welcome on in to hour number 2 of the Sunday Sports Rush right here on News Talk KEYS, 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. I am James Espinosa. We have producer, co-host Adin Ducker behind the glass.
Cougars, I love Cougars.
We have Alex Weister here for his last live show with us for a little bit. He's off to North Texas here next week. So, Alex, what's up?
I'm officially a Bobby Witt Jr. fan.
Really? Why is this?
I don't know. He's just an interesting player.
For the Royals, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Shortstop for the Royals.
Yeah,
23 years old.
He's a badass.
Oh, damn it, Bobby.
Bobby Witt Jr. That does sound very King of the Hill.
Yeah, 24 homers, and how many stolen bases does he have? 36.
Look at you. Alex is a baseball guy officially.
I am a baseball guy now.
You never used to be baseball guy, but you are now baseball guy.
I never used to. To be honest, at one point in time, I didn't even know all the teams in the league.
I mean, to be fair, the Milwaukee Brewers haven't been really
Don't
much
talk
to cheer
about
for.
the Brewers.
We don't like the
Brewers
first-place
anymore.
team.
Growing up.
You're gonna make my father sad.
Don't make
honest,
Mr. Weister sad.
They made an NLCS in 2011 and 2018, but
yeah. 361-882-5397. Our question of the day is, which new addition to the Cowboys will have the greatest impact this season? Stephon Gilmore, Brandon Cooks, Mozzie Smith, Deuce Vaughn, or other? That is our question. Let me get to one of our good buddies right here. Frank is in here. Frank says Gilmore. I envision a Deion Sanders type effect on that defense.
Ooh.
He's a veteran who comes from winning organizations. At some point, Dallas is going to click and pull this S out. Gilmore will be a huge reason when it happens.
Is this the same guy that called Von Sanders?
No, it's a different guy.
Oh, it's still there's a group of Cowboys fans.
Okay, so what?
Lower the expectations.
The Gilmore and Deion Sanders.
This isn't 2019.
Go ahead, Alex.
Deion played on the then Redskins, I believe, when they were actually good.
Yes.
The 49ers in pretty much their heyday.
He won a Super Bowl with the 49ers.
And then the Falcons when they were on the up and coming, when he really was a star, and then came to the Cowboys. Look at Stephon Gilmore. He came from the Patriots, yes, but then he went to the Colts. They're not really that great anymore. And then he went to the Panthers, which are not a winning organization.
Well, I think he went to the Panthers first.
It was Panthers, then Colts, but yeah.
I mean, those are not winning teams.
I remember when he was a Bill.
Oh, my God, yes. And even, that is like the poster child for a non-winning organization.
But I guess Frank says he's going to have a Deion Sanders effect. I guess he's going to make the defense elite is what Frank is trying to get at here. So I kind of get what Frank...
Top 10 to top 5,
yeah,
maybe?
I'm kind of seeing what Frank is... No, look, listen. I kind of see what Frank is saying, but I just think the Deion Sanders comparison is a little far-fetched.
Wait, is this the Frank... we know from Miami ESPN?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that explains it.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not trying... Okay, look, I'm not trying to dox anybody. I'm just... his name is Frank.
I won't say his full name. But
So there we go. Yeah.
I understand.
I'd hope not, Adin. Good Lord.
Jeez.
Much love, Frank. You're an entertainment, my friend.
361-882-5397. Get in on the text line. Let's go ahead, though, and let's transition. Let's talk some college football. I want to do some college football predictions. The AP Top 25 came out this week. And, of course, the Georgia Bulldogs are the number one team. Georgia also announced yesterday that their new starting quarterback goes by the name of Carson Beck.
Yeah.
Who did get some run last year in mop-up time.
I mean, he looked serviceable.
Yeah, he has a cannon of an arm. He's a big kid, 6'4", 215 pounds. Of course, highly recruited.
I'm expecting Brock Bowers to feast. Every time, either in pro sports or in college football, whenever there's a new quarterback, they always love throwing to that tight end.
So the Bulldogs are back-to-back national champions. They've gone 29-1 over these past couple of seasons. And now the Bulldogs will be trying to do something that hasn't been done since 2011 and 2012. Or, excuse me, hasn't been done since 1936. Let me correct myself. And that is go for 3 straight national titles during the AP poll era.
Real quick, I remember back when we had the benchwarmers days and Alabama had just beaten Georgia in that heartbreaking overtime national championship game, the second and 26 and whatnot. And I said the day that Georgia gets that Bama monkey off their shoulders, they're gonna be the new generation. They're gonna be the Bama of today.
But no,
and you and our former host Brent said that until they do that, they're not. But now they have.
Now
and
they have.
They're that guy now.
So Georgia is the guy at number 1, Michigan number 2, Ohio State 3, Alabama 4, LSU 5. I'm gonna do the top 10. USC 6, Penn State at 7, Florida State at 8, Clemson 9, Washington 10, and then the Texas Longhorns come in at number 11 in the AP Top 25 poll. Other notable Texas teams in the poll, number 17 is TCU, number 23 is Texas A&M. Those are the only Texas teams that are ranked in the AP poll to start the season.
This is a make or break year for Jimbo. I was very disappointed last season. I thought they'd be at least a 10-win team. They're essentially what LSU became last year.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is. I mean, he's probably the number 1 coach on the hot seat right now, in my opinion. So.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair assessment. Yeah.
I think so. I mean, all the promise. They've only had one 10-win season since 1996, and guess what? That was the year that Johnny Manziel was quarterback.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, no. In 2020, they had that was a really good team,
but they went 9-1.
Yeah.
Because of COVID. Mm-hmm. So they've only had one 10-win season since 1996, and that was with Johnny Manziel. That's how lackluster their program's been, for lack of a better word.
But last year was just so disappointing.
It really was.
Some more notes, right? Florida State is projected to have a really good team this year, man. Florida State's been recruiting well. They got that quarterback Travis Jordan, who's really good. He's back for his, I believe, senior season. Penn State's getting a lot of hype. We know USC. Caleb Williams is back. Year 2, Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
LSU's on the come up as well.
All we needed was these teams to start getting some more recruiting pull away from Alabama, and now we're going to start seeing things level out with these kids who are getting their UIL money start to spread out to these different teams.
No matter what, though, USC will never recruit a defense. So I mean, I'm not.
Fair point.
Real quick.
Fair point.
Real quick, because I want to kind of get to this quick, and then we'll do our playoffs. Who wins the SEC? Aiden. I'll go with Aiden first.
Georgia.
Who wins SEC?
I think you have to go with Georgia still.
I'm going to go Georgia. Okay, so that's pretty clean cut from all of us.
I mean, Bama, who's going to be their starting quarterback this year? I mean, Bama's always
It's either
going
to be Ty Simpson or Jalen Milroe, which, according to people who are very close with the Alabama situation, if they were to start a game today, they wouldn't even know who's the starting quarterback because none of those guys have emerged as the clear-cut favorite. So right now, as we speak, they're still in a quarterback battle.
I expect Bama to win 10 games off of their talent, but I mean, they don't have a standout Bryce Young quarterback.
When was the last time we've seen something like this with Bama, where they just don't have a quarterback? Like
they had a year where they had like Jake Coker and Blake Sims. I think this was like 2015.
But that was a Derrick Henry Heisman year, though.
Yes.
So.
And then after that, they ran into that's when they brought in Hurts was there, and then of course Tua was there, and then of course last year Bryce Young. They've had a string of quarterback that have been really good. But before that, they kind of were a little iffy.
I can't think of anybody on that Bama team that's like a standout player you can think of.
Bama's going to be one of those teams, and then we'll move on to the Big Ten. Bama's going to be one of those teams where they might be a little bit shaky early on, but as the year goes on, they're going to grow into it, and they'll probably be one of the best teams in the nation. Big Ten, who wins it? Adin.
I think it's got to be Ohio State.
Interesting.
I mean, I'll say Michigan because they beat Ohio State 2 years in a row. So.
Are you finally a Michigan believer?
No.
They lost some guys. Ohio State, they still have a lot of really good guys on that offense.
I mean, they have Marvin Harrison Jr. still.
They got all the talent, but they're much like Alabama, and you don't know who their quarterback's going to be.
And I'm sorry, I am drinking the Kool-Aid. Dark horse is Wisconsin.
Whoa!
Luke
Fickell, baby!
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm going to go chalk. I'm going Michigan. I'll go Michigan. I think Ohio State's quarterback situation. Michigan is established. Michigan's been doing well. I got Michigan. Big 12. Who do we got winning the Big 12?
Oof.
I'll just say it flat out. Texas is winning the Big 12 this year. Texas, Texas will win the Big 12.
I mean, it should be UT. If not UT, maybe Baylor.
Well,
that's a hot
Baylor's
take.
a little bit of a dark horse, but you know who's getting a lot of run lately? Texas Tech. Joey McGuire and Texas Tech. They are going to be up there. They're going to be maybe second or third in the conference. Don't be surprised if they're in the Big 12 title game playing against Texas. Can't forget about OU, but year 2 under Venables.
Yeah.
I mean, then TCU, I know they lost a lot of players. But
they're not going to win. With TCU is going to be on a down year.
I'm going with Texas as my Big 12 champion. Let's go to the ACC. Who do we got? I'll go Florida State. This is Florida State's year. Florida State is taking back the ACC. They're going to go through Clemson. They're going to go through Miami. They're going to go through North Carolina. Give me the Seminoles to be back, baby. They're winning the ACC.
Give me Clemson. If they had started Cade Klubman the entire year, they would have.
Man,
we saw him live.
That's still crazy to me that we actually got to witness him play live, and he is now potentially going to be a starting quarterback at Clemson. That is wild. I still am not high on Clemson, though. I think it's going to be Florida State.
I mean, he'd probably be a first-round pick, right, in the NFL?
No,
if he continues, I mean, I don't know. Clemson does do well with churning out quarterbacks.
Well, besides DJ.
He's got to steal that starting QB spot and really have a good season.
All right, last one, the Pac-12. Who wins it? This is going to be a pretty contentious conference because you do got USC, you do got Utah, you do got Oregon, and then even the surprising Oregon State Beavers, who will be quarterbacked by DJ Ungangagale.
You almost got it.
Did I get it? Dang it.
You were close. I'll give it to you.
So Pac-12 is going to be good, man.
Yeah. I still got to go with USC. I think it's hard to not pick them, really.
If USC gets a defense.
Yes.
Utah.
That's a hot take, but I can see that.
Utah beat USC twice.
And Utah does return.
Twice last year.
They do return.
That's a sneaky
quarterback
good pick.
Cameron Rising.
Yeah.
That's a sneaky good pick.
He's going to rise all over USC again.
I'm going to say it right now. I've loved USC. I love Lincoln. I love Caleb, but I'm going quack.
I'm an Oregon.
Quack.
I'm an Oregon fan, and I always expect heartbreak no matter what.
Bo Nix.
Me with Wisconsin.
Bo Nix will be in New York at the Heisman Trophy presentation.
Oof.
He's having a big year this year. Bo Nix.
That is
believe
a
in
bold
it.
one.
Bo leave.
Dude, Bo Nix is one of those players. It seems like he's played college football for 8 years now.
Yes.
It's another Stetson Bennett. I remember. What's the basketball one? It was Perry Ellis for Kansas. That's always a comparison.
Man. This segment might run we might have to carry this over real quickly. Should we carry it over? Or
what was next segment supposed to be?
It's going to be a little bit of baseball, but I think we need to predict these. We need to give our playoff four and our national championships.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and pause right here. We're going to carry this over. When we come back, we'll continue our college football preview. We'll give our playoff for our national championship and our eventual national champion. 361-882-5397. Get in with your college takes. It's the Sunday Sports Rush. Welcome back, Sunday Sports Rush, episode 129. Shout out to our sponsors, Crossroads Clinical Research. They got a new study involving the medication Mounjaro. If you're looking to lose a few pounds, then pay attention. You have to have heart issues. You got to be diabetic to qualify for this study. So if you want to do that, hit up our good friend Jerry over at Crossroads Research, 361-288-4668. That's 361-288-4668. For more information, visit them at number3CRA.com. That is number3CRA.com. Real quickly, got to take in on the Cowboys question of the day. Who is going to be the biggest impact player for the Cowboys this season of the new additions? Adrian's in here. Adrian says Cooks. Brandon Cooks is the absolute deep threat, complimentary wide receiver that Lamb needed. Add in sideline wonder Michael Gallup, and the Cowboys have the best trio they've ever had.
Stop.
Okay, look.
I'm getting so...
Listen to me. The Cowboy fan is not afraid to proclaim that this is the greatest, this is the best.
Yeah. I mean, come on. You have to be used to this by now.
I liked everything up until the best trio they've ever had. And could it be? Maybe.
Trio,
I don't know.
Are you talking about trio of receivers?
Yeah, trio of receivers they've ever had.
Okay,
in franchise history.
Maybe.
But I do like the take on Brandon Cooks, so thanks for getting in, Adrian. Danny's in here. One more, and then we'll get back to college football. Danny says, Deuce Vaughn and Mozzie will be huge this year, in my opinion. I think they'll help more, but Cooks and Gilmore will be the better players, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, cool. I get it. Okay. They'll be huge, yes, as rookies, but Cooks and Gilmore will be the better players. I got you. 361-882-5397. Let's get back into college football. We're doing our preview of the 2023 season. We've already picked our conference champions of the Big Five. Let's go ahead and give our playoff four and eventual championship and national champions. Who wants to start first?
Alex.
Oh, man.
Give your playoff four, Alex, and your national champion.
Michigan, they have some good guys returning. I think Ohio State is going to keep in it. So I'm going to go Georgia, Michigan. I think Ohio State's going to sneak in. I think they'll sneak in at like 4.
Okay.
And now just picking that final one. I'm not picking Bama. I'm not confident that they will have a good enough season to make it. I think they will have that 2 or 3 game loss on their record, and they're going to scare away the voters. It comes down to me between LSU, USC, and Florida State.
Interesting.
And LSU, I think they're a little bit overhyped, in all honesty. I think USC will make it into that Final Four.
Damn it. So you got Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, USC. Adin, give me your playoff four.
Okay. I got Georgia. I have Michigan in there.
All right.
Give me Clemson.
Ooh.
They're going to make a return in the playoff, I feel like. And then, this is a tough one. Because there's 3 teams I'm thinking of. It's either Ohio State, LSU, or even a Utah, maybe. But I'm going to put Utah out of that. So, gosh, this is hard because I don't believe, Texas is going to win the Big 12, but I think they're going to have 2 losses. Two or 3 losses, so give me LSU.
All right, so you got Georgia, Michigan, Clemson, LSU.
I think they're going to roll into the SEC title game undefeated, and their one loss will be against Georgia, but they're still, I think they'll still get in.
Okay.
That's sort of my thought with Michigan and Ohio State, in all honesty.
I got you.
I think Ohio State loses to Michigan again, but they won't be in the Big Ten title game, and I think that's going to get them out of the playoff just because in a scenario, LSU is undefeated up until the SEC title game.
361-882-5397. If you got any college football takes, get them in right now. This is our college football preview for the 2023 season. Let me go through my playoff four. I got Georgia winning the SEC undefeated.
Yeah.
I think they run it. I think Georgia is the premier program, obviously, in all of college football. Give me Michigan. Michigan has that 2-headed tandem at running back, Blake Corum.
Yeah, Blake Corum's in line to have another great season.
They also got McNamara back at quarterback.
Yep.
So they're looking good. They're looking strong. That defense is going to be stout. This is where I get kind of crazy in my playoff scenario. Florida State's going to make the playoffs this year. I think Florida State wins the ACC. They get by, like I mentioned before, they're going to get by everybody. They're going to get by Clemson, Miami, North Carolina. Give me Florida State into the title game.
Wow.
And then number 4, it comes down to a couple of teams. It comes down to USC, it comes down to LSU, and it comes down to the Texas Longhorns.
The Texas is not going to make it, man. I don't think so, in my opinion.
The Texas Longhorns will make the playoff this year.
Oh, come on.
The Texas Longhorns will make the playoff this year. Yes, they will.
Doing this, man.
I am doing this because I'm going to say something else right now.
Oh, man.
This is a prediction. Texas makes the playoffs, and they're going to be undefeated when they make the playoffs.
No.
They're running the table. They will beat Alabama in Alabama week 2.
You are done.
I'm putting it on the line. You hear this right here?
really
Hey,
are.
hey, you hear this right
They're
here?
not beating Bama in Bama.
Hey, right here. Ball's on the table.
Oh, come on.
They're not beating Bama in Bama. If they were to rematch it in UT where they almost beat them, sure. Go ahead. I do not believe Bama will lose to UT in Bama.
Okay, that's fine. Now, let's go to our champion. Who's going to win it all, Adin? Who's your national title game? Who wins it all quickly?
Give me a Georgia LSU rematch and
Wow.
give me Georgia by a touchdown.
Okay, Alex, who's your national champion?
I think Georgia repeats. I don't know who.
It'll be a three-peat.
Oh, three-peat. I don't know who's going to be that second spot. There's a lot of good players who have left those top teams. It's going to be a toss-up. I just have Georgia winning it.
I remember when people used to compare when Kirby Smart early on to Mark Richt. I'm like, dude, Kirby Smart's a way better. Well, I wouldn't say way better, but he's a better coach than Mark Richt. And now it's proven.
It's going so.
And they have the number 1 quarterback coming in next season, Raiola.
So in y'all's situation, y'all have Georgia going for a three-peat, which hasn't been done since 1936 in the AP era. Think about that. It's been a long time since somebody's gone 3 in a row. It's very, very hard to do. Georgia does have a new quarterback, Carson Beck. We'll see how he does, right? A lot to pan out here. So y'all guys got Georgia going to a three-peat. All right, here we go. Here's my scenario. In my scenario, the playoff looks like this. It's going to be Georgia versus Texas in the semifinal because Georgia will be 1, Texas will be 4.
Do not say it.
Don't do
It's
this.
going to be Michigan versus Florida State in the other semifinal.
Do not say it.
Don't do this.
In the second semifinal, Michigan chokes again in the semifinal, and Florida State is going to the national championship game.
I can see that.
He's
I mean,
doing
Michigan
this.
should not have lost to TCU.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Florida State will beat Michigan, so Florida State in the title game.
you're not doing this.
Don't.
And in the
James.
second semifinal game, Georgia against Texas, Georgia beats Texas.
Thank God.
Georgia beats Texas. Georgia against Florida State in the national championship game. And as a surprise upset, Florida State will win the national championship.
You're very high. I know Florida State had a good year last season, but you're very high.
I am super high on Florida State. Florida State is your national champion this year. The Seminoles are back.
Hey, don't do
go.
that. Don't do that. You can't do that today.
Why not?
You can't. You
They
just
still
can't.
do it. Why can't they do it?
You're according to the rules of society today, you can't do that. You
The
can't.
Braves still do it?
Fair.
It's a banger song.
Dude, I'm on keys. What are you talking about? Like, people are probably cheering their heads off that I did that right now. They're probably like, yeah, that guy's so, I don't even know.
It's honestly a banger though. It's
It
the
is.
best college. It's the
It
best
is.
theme.
And I think Florida
It's
State,
just iconic.
in all seriousness, Mike Novell has been doing a great job over there. They have a team this year that people are going to sleep on. And I might be crazy. Give me Florida State. There we go. College football predictions. That was fun. That was good stuff. Good stuff right there. Coming up next, guys, let's talk a little bit of high school football.
Ooh.
Why not? Let's keep that going. We'll talk some high school football as their season is about to start. It is the Sports Rush. Keep it locked right here on News Talk KEYS. Sunday Sports Rush, episode 129. James, Adin, and Alex with you. Got about 30 more minutes left in the show. We still got our question of the day. Which new addition to the Cowboys will have the greatest impact this season? Gilmore, Cooks, Mozzie Smith, or Deuce Vaughn? One more to read here. As thank you guys for weighing in on the question of the day. We got Andres in here, a good friend Andres. Andres says, I believe Gilmore turns our, quote, okay pass defense into a very good / bordering on elite unit. Opposite Diggs was a problem last couple of seasons. Gilmore fixes that. Quarterbacks will have to pick their poison. See, that's a sound take. And that's a great take from our good friend Andres right there. Not going too overboard. Not saying this is the greatest tandem since Dion and whoever. That's a sound take. I like that, Andres. Thank you for getting in. 361-882-5397. One more comes from Brian. Brian's in here. Brian says, I think they all have a big impact with Gilmore having the greatest. Okay, see, there we go. I like that. So we've had a pretty good little range from Gilmore to Cooks to Deuce Vaughn. Randy says this year it's Gilmore, future impact Deuce.
With what I've been hearing today, I'm expecting somebody to chime in. Mozzie Smith going to be a reincarnation of Aaron Donald and mean Joe Green.
Oh, my God. Knowing some Cowboys fans out there, I'm pretty sure that thought has already entered their mind. And Carter is in here. Carter says Gilmore easily. So there we go. Thank you guys for weighing in this morning. 361-882-5397. You could still get in on the text line. We got about 30 more minutes with you. Right now, though, let's talk some Texas high school football because the season is here, fellas. My goodness. The season is here. It is going to kick off on Thursday night with us on the MIC Sports Network and on News Talk KEYS. We got Cal Allen versus Gregory Portland in GP at Ray Aikens Wildcat Stadium. It's going to be a good one. Heavily anticipated game. The Cal Allen Wildcats, we all know what they bring to the table.
I believe I checked and they're ranked 7 in their classification.
That is right. Number 7 ranked in Class 4A Division 1. They represent District 16 4A. Oh, love that right there, Adin.
Yeah. Man.
That's good.
We are back.
They do got some key returners. Luke Medina, Jude Hernandez. Luke Medina, the running back. Linebacker, Jude Hernandez. And offensive lineman, Brady Buchanan. Cal Allen's got a bunch of new faces all over the field after winning 13 games and going to the regional final in Steve Campbell's first season as head coach. 2 of their returnees are the best in the region at their position in running back Luke Medina and linebacker Jude Hernandez. So, going to be a tough ask for the Gregory Portland Wildcats, but GP's also looking pretty good. Last year, 8-4 in the season, 15-5A D2. They did lose in the second round to Alamo Heights up in Cuero, which wasn't really a close contest if we're being honest. Top returners for GP include junior quarterback Reed Dooms, senior linebacker Gabriel Juarez, linebacker, tight end, and Air Force commit Brody Mitchell, wide receiver and defensive back Colton Harrison, offensive lineman Jaden Demet, and defensive end Jackson Sutton.
I mean, the star names that we heard all over the radio waves last season, and streaming waves as well, and so I'm expecting to hear just as much, and not even more, of their names.
Reed Dooms last year, as a sophomore who had to come in for the injured Brandon Redden, eclipsed more than 2,300 passing yards in his first season under center. I'm expecting a really big year from Reed Dooms. So
pure pocket passer.
He can scramble a little bit.
He gets a
little bit, but, it's not his forte. But, yeah, he's more of a pocket passer, Aiden. You're right.
Yeah, and I was just very impressed with him coming in. And that could have, when your quarterback gets injured, it could easily derail a season.
Yes, it can.
And the fact that he came in and just lit it up and salvaged a really good season for GP last year. Speaks volumes to him, and I'm expecting him to have a standout. Maybe, possible district MVP talk.
District MVP, maybe, all region quarterback here.
Yeah.
I mean, or all Coastal Bend, I should say, quarterback. Yeah. Most definitely he'll be up there. So let's take a look at the districts. You got District 14 5A Division 1. This is the CCISD district with the 2 victorious schools, East and West. Who wins the district? Veterans Memorial Miller. Those are the top two teams in contention for the district. Who's going to come out with the crown, Miller or Vets Memorial?
I'm going to go and say Miller.
Okay, I'm with you. I think Miller's right there.
I know Lonnie Atkinson graduated, but Miller returns both of the quarterbacks that they've had.
Yes, they do.
With Brown and Long, and they both had their moments too, and it's just that Vets is always going to be a good team no matter what. But when you don't have your quarterback anymore, you just question, you have unanswered questions basically. At least with Miller, whenever you have your quarterback returning, it just gives me the benefit of the doubt at least.
You got Trevor Long, who's the junior quarterback. You also got Brown, who is the other quarterback for Miller. He played baseball with them as well. But Long last year, as a sophomore, 2,017 passing yards, 18 touchdowns in his first varsity season. Jaden Brown is also the other quarterback, so they kind of got a two-headed monster there.
I mean, is Jaden Brown, can he play skill position as well?
Yeah, he's like an athlete, but he does play quarterback also.
I have a feeling,
he might be more of an athlete this year since they've lost Atkinson.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how that plays out. But, Veterans Memorial ain't no slouch either.
No, absolutely not.
They got another Air Force commit in their senior, Christian Sabsuk, who is playing cornerback and wide receiver. He had 71 tackles, 4 interceptions for Vets last season. He also had a few touchdown receptions. They also got Luke Johnson, who is a senior, another defensive player who had 110 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 6 interceptions, 5 pass deflections, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. Jeez.
He's been a solid piece of that defense for a while.
Yes, and I think I'll make a prediction Luke Johnson's going to win the defensive MVP.
So
it's a fair take.
Are we all in agreement that we have Miller as the favorite to win the district this year?
I think they showed some very good strides in terms of making their defense better, because in years past we've seen that their defense has always been a struggle for them, but they've always been able to go toe-to-toe with some of the best offenses in the area.
And let's not forget, they had Vets, they should have won that game. It went for an onside kick recovery, that they were in control with much of that game, and I feel like they're going to be even more motivated to get the job done this year.
It's very much a coin flip for me, but I think Miller just slightly edges out Vets.
And it's going to come down to quarterback.
I agree.
Vets is replacing their longtime quarterback. So it's going to be how they fill that position and how that new quarterback adjusts. District 15 is pretty much between Flower Bluff and GP. with the Valley schools. I got GP winning the district this year.
It is GP.
They had a heartbreaking loss to Flower Bluff last year.
It is their district to lose.
All right.
In all honesty.
I'm going with the GP Wildcats. I think so, but hey, that last game of the season, GP at Flower Bluff, will probably be for the district championship, and that's going to be a hell of a scene.
But I think GP's gonna respond. They're gonna be, even because they lost last year, I feel like they're gonna be even more motivated to get the job done this year. Much like Miller,
Let's go to District 16 4A Division 1. Alice, Cowallen, TM, Kingsville, Hidalgo, La Feria, Zapata.
Cowallen, Alice.
Cowallen, Alice, TM.
I think TM,
the tough race there is going to be between TM and Alice for that 2 and 3 spot, in all honesty.
And I think I'm going to give Alice the benefit of the doubt and give him the 2 spot.
Me too.
And then slide TM in the 3 spot. TM, they've been making strides the past several seasons with their football program.
Not just their football program, pretty much all of their programs, in all honesty.
Their
baseball team is
they're in the
very
come up
good.
with athletics. Basketball too, volleyball, they got a good program. Solid little program out there, and they're building a nice thing. And speaking of TM, on our MIC Sports Network Game of the Week, which we will now be streaming, we have TM versus Moody on Friday night, 7:30 from Cabinet. So we'll get to see the TM Warriors firsthand after they broke their decade-long playoff drought last season. So can they build on that and go back-to-back years in the playoffs? I think so.
All right, you said this. You think your Brahmas are going to do it and slide in?
I think Kingsville gets that 4 spot.
Who got it last year?
Last year, I want to say it was La Feria.
I think
they're always that team that sort of
it was La
around
Feria.
the playoff spots.
Yeah, it'll probably come down to Kingsville and La Feria for that 4th spot.
They're gonna do it, right?
They're gonna do it.
They didn't hire a new coach.
They hired Ruben Garcia, who brought up the Falfurious program and got them to the playoffs.
He was running a very good program over there.
So now he's in Kingsville trying to do the same thing. Yeah, first year in Kingsville.
All right, yeah, I can see that happening.
I love how we didn't let Adin talk about Carroll at all with their new
coach.
coach.
They're gonna make. Well, I mean, their second year, Cal Netherland. They're gonna make the playoffs.
Carroll's making the playoffs, 4th seed.
Yeah, they're gonna bump out one of those 2 pesky Victoria teams.
Let's go to District
new era Carroll.
Let's go to District 15. West Oso, Ingleside, Orange Grove, Robstown, Sinton.
Sinton won.
Sinton,
Ingleside.
Inglesid's
supposed to be really good. They got that Jacobson. They got that Jacobson quarterback. They also got that skill player who's going to North Texas. Alex.
Yeah, I can.
Jaden Smith.
They do have a new coach though.
Yes.
I think Hunter Hamrick left to Rock.
Ingleside seems to always hover around the middle of the pack in their districts. I can see them winning number 2. West Oso seems to be always sort of
kind of 3-4
there. Yeah,
I believe Smithy left, right?
He did.
Yes.
Yeah. So
they got a new regime.
I think they'll probably be the odd man out.
Let me just say this right now: Gage Perry and the Robstown Cotton Pickers are going to the playoffs.
I would agree.
They're going to go to the playoffs this year. He's taking them.
I see. I
can see it happening as the 4th spot. Let's look at some other smaller districts here in the area. We got, okay, let me pull them up. Aransas Pass, London, Edna, Goliad, Mathis, Palacios, and Vanderbilt Industrial. That's District 15, 3A, D1. I know, once we get to the smaller teams, it's harder to project. I get it.
I mean, London should be a playoff team.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Edna, and Goliad are always...
Edna will win that district. Edna's one of the best.
Home of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Edna.
It'll probably be Edna, Goliad, Vanderbilt Industrial, London.
You think they're going to Stone Cold...
yes.
Stun
them. And then this district is also very tough. 15 2A Division 1. Refugio, Shiner, Ganado, Skidmore-Tynan, Three Rivers, Bloomington, and Kennedy.
It should be Refugio. They're picked to win state this year.
Yes. Refugio, Shiner, Ganado, and Three Rivers. Top 4.
And then also with Shiner, no more Brooks Brothers to be,
Yeah, Shiner, from what I've seen, they've fallen way down the rankings for some people.
They're
down hovering around 9.
Well, they lost quite a bit of people.
They really did.
They lost a lot of their team in the previous year, but they still had Dalton Brooks, so they were still a good team. But now Brooks is gone, so I mean, China should still make the playoffs, though.
Let me do one more prediction. District 16, 3A, D2. It's the Taft, Santa Rosa, Odom, Monte Alto, Hebronville, George West, Banquetti District. Taft is winning that district.
Odom, number 2.
JJ Acosta, their quarterback's going to be balling. It'll probably be Taft. Give me Odom. Give me Banquetti. And give me Hebronville in the 4th.
Yeah,
I'd say that's fair.
I think that's a solid pick.
I say that's fair right there. So there we go. Our Texas high school football preview. Look at us. We are some previewing people here on the Sunday Sports Rush. When we come back, we will have a sports grab bag. So let me go ahead and look at the latest headlines. What have we missed? Let's talk that next. One more segment. Stick around. Sunday Sports Rush, last segment, 361-882-5397. Got 10 minutes left. Get on in here. It's James Espinosa. It's Adin Ducker. It's Alex Weister. It's episode 129. Next week, we turn 130. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
NFL season is upon us, but we're right in the thick of Major League Baseball. So let's finish off the show with some Major League Baseball talk. Last night, the Astros lost to the Mariners. Astros have not been doing too well against this Mariners team. They got one more game with them today at 12 o'clock. That's going to be coming up here rather shortly. But the Astros lost. They fall to 70-54. They're still second in the AL West. But don't look now. Don't look back. The Mariners are only one game behind the Astros. And the Mariners have the season series wrapped up. And that is a playoff tiebreaker.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I'm scared.
I have a theory though.
Go.
The Blue Jays have been falling off of recently.
The Blue Jays also own the series tiebreaker over the Astros.
Yeah, but they've fallen off. I'd rather the Astros win the division.
Yeah, but the
fifth playoff spot I think would play the
Central.
No. The 6th playoff spot plays the Central.
Oh, the 5th will play the East.
The 5th will play
that'd be
probably the
Baltimore.
Rays.
Or the Rays,
it's
yeah.
going to be the Rays.
Yeah, that's tough.
And so, I mean, I would rather play the Twins than the Rays.
Yeah, in all honesty.
So that's what happened, and now the Mariners are right back in the swing of things.
Yeah, this was a big opportunity to put the Mariners aside and
a loss today to Seattle, and the Mariners and Astros are tied.
Yeah, so they have to win. They have to win today. It's been a problem for the Astros against the Mariners pitching. They have shut them down completely, and I mean, obviously they didn't do it when it mattered in the postseason last year, but now it's like I guess they're taking. I don't know.
But hey,
it's just
if
tough.
the Astros have a winning record against the Mariners, they're leading the division, and it's not even an issue.
Well, they haven't been taking care of business because this has been one of the most inconsistent teams that we've been talking about all season long. They cannot put away the teams they need to put away, Alex.
Look on the bright side, though. The Rangers have dropped 2 games of their 3-game series against the Brewers so far.
Shout out to the Brewers.
Brew Crew.
Yes.
And then they had a really bad series against the Angels, too. They lost one of those games, and they had a rough one against the Giants, too.
But the one thing that bothers me the most, when the Rangers lose, the Astros lose. The Astros can never just capitalize and win a game when the Rangers lose.
The only time they really caught up was when the Astros actually played the Rangers, and that's coming up early September.
Yeah, that could be it right there for the division lead if their Astros can still stay a little bit close. Now, one guy who has been tearing up Major League Baseball these past 4 games is Julio Rodriguez.
It's about time.
17 hits in his last 4 games, the most in a 4-game span since 1900. 4 straight 4-hit games, tied for the longest streak since 1900. Julio is 17 out of 21 in his last 4 games. He's on a tear, bro.
It's about time. He was off to a very slow start.
Yeah.
And he's finally showing that potential to be like a poster child for the MLB.
Remember during the All-Star break when we were questioning why is Julio Rodriguez starting the All-Star game?
Yep.
Because he did have that lackluster start, and everybody was just like, oh, he's in there because the game's in Seattle, etc. Well, he is one of the best young players in this game.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a problem for a while, and he's been tearing up everybody these past 4 games, and he's finally gotten hot. So shout out to Julio Rodriguez. Real quickly, another Astros note. Jose Altuve got hit number 2,000 last night, but in Altuve fashion, he had a base running blunder and tried to stretch that into a double and got thrown out. He got thrown out on hit number 2,000. It was officially a single, and then he tried to stretch into a double, and he got thrown out. But shout out to Jose Altuve for hit number 2,000. Go ahead, Alex.
So I think we can say that the AL MVP race is probably locked up by now with Shohei.
Well,
in all honesty.
It is, but it just sucks that because, the Angels are really bad.
Yes,
and it always hurts giving the MVP to somebody on a bad team.
Yes, but I do want to bring this up because who wins it in the NL? Acuna's up there. Ooh. Freeman's up there.
It's either going to be Acuna, Freeman, or Olsen.
I would say
Olsen has been on an absolute rocket recently.
I would say right now it's Olsen.
I mean, he has just been nuts.
I'm just glad he's not in the AL. I'm just glad he's not in the AL West anymore.
I would give Olsen right now because Olsen and Shohei, they're kind of battling for that.
They're tied right now with 43 home runs apiece.
Yeah, for the home run lead in the entire league. But
Acuna is leading in batting average, and he has the WAR. Value.
The fact that Acuna's batting .333 with 28 homers and 66. No, that's not 55 stolen bases.
And then his RBI count would be bigger, but he's the lead off hitter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there we go.
I think you shove him down that lineup a little bit, and his numbers might look crazy.
Definitely so. Yesterday, guys, did y'all see that Red Sox Luis Urias became the first Major League player to hit Grand Slams in consecutive plate appearances since 2009?
What?
Oh, he hit 2 Grand Slams against the Yankees in the same game?
Yes, in consecutive plate appearances.
The Blue Blood franchise is beating up on each other. Lovely.
Nah, it's the Red Sox doing all the beating up on the Yankees.
Yeah, at least this season.
So the Yankees have lost 7 straight games.
Oh, their season's done. Yeah, it's official.
it's done.
Tied for their longest losing streak since dropping 8 straight in August of 1995. The Yankees were outscored by 27 runs over the last 5 games, the most they've been outscored in a 5-game span since May 28th through June 2nd of 2005.
they're just a broken team right now. You know, the injuries early on didn't help, but, you know, they get Judge back. But
I was giving them the benefit of the doubt for them being the Yankees, but I will finally say it. They are done this season.
They are 60-63.
The problem,
8 games out of the wild
problem
card.
is they did nothing in the trade deadline. At least
No.
if you sell, at least you can, you know, your players go, okay, let's relax a bit. Let's just, you know, play to have fun. When you do nothing in the trade deadline,
Yeah.
Is this a situation where they get rid of Aaron Boone?
Honestly,
They're
maybe.
gonna make him the fall guy for this.
Oh, for sure.
Cashman's the issue.
They're not going to get rid of Cashman.
Cashman to me is the issue.
Yeah,
but they're
absolutely.
gonna make-
He is the problem.
But Boone, they're gonna replace Boone for
And
sure.
that kind of sucks because it seems like they really do like Boone. And
I don't think
Boone's
Boone-
not
Because,
bad.
I don't
because he
think-
says what they like.
I don't think Boone's the problem, at least regular season wise.
He's just saying what they like.
you know.
In all honesty, I mean, he's not saying anything bad about the team. He's just trying to paint them in the best light possible, and he's going to end up being the fall guy. He's just going to have to take the bite.
So there are 6 weeks left, guys, in the baseball regular season. About 38 games or so for each team.
Yep.
We're getting down to the wire here, and it's going to be fun. We got
For sure.
got the rest of August, and then all of September, and then finally October playoff baseball. This playoffs, I'm anticipating a really good playoff this year.
For sure.
Especially in the American League. When you have the young Orioles, you got this upstart Rangers team. You got the defending champion Astros still trying to fight, and keep their crown.
All I'm going to say is that the American League, they're going to be huge fans of the Rangers, Mariners, and Blue Jays.
Go ahead.
And I want to say something about the Orioles.
Go ahead.
If they go into the playoffs, win a couple of games and lose, I do not want to hear anybody hating on them. Any sort of progress towards a bright future for this team is a positive.
All the hate's going to go to their owner.
It does, but they shouldn't get any hate at all.
Look,
yes, their owner should get hate.
Real quickly, the Astros lost
I guess.
The Astros lost a wild card series to the Royals in 2015, and that kind of propelled them to kind of boom, 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 like climb the ladder. So that could happen to the Orioles. They're still going to be a good team.
It's just their starting pitching is scary.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for getting in this morning. We appreciate y'all so much. Shout out to Jerry Plemons and Crossroads Clinical Research for sponsoring the show. Alex, we're going to miss you, my guy, but we're going to have you on often.
Yep.
Football season is coming up for Adin Ducker, Alex Weister. I'm James Espinosa. No more questions. Have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll talk to you next week.